he did not drop the album. Instead, Drake dropped something far more calculated, a joke, a persona, and the kind of digital chaos that only he seems capable of engineering at this scale. What started as a lighthearted comment about fashion design spiraled within hours into a full-blown internet reckoning with one of Canada's most famous exports, standing at the very center of it, grinning, saying nothing, and letting the world do the talking for him. Drake has spent the better part of early 2026 positioning himself as a figure of quiet menace. The rollout for his upcoming project, widely referred to as Iceman, began in earnest on the 3rd of March 2026 when the Toronto rapper took to Instagram to post a carousel of images that offered almost no information and an enormous amount of atmosphere. The caption was sparse, deliberately opaque, the kind of thing that invites 10,000 interpretations and confirms none of them. Embedded within the images were text overlays carrying phrases like "Warning Iceman," "They doubted me," and "Talk is cheap." For fans who had been waiting, and waiting is perhaps the operative word when it comes to Drake's relationship with his audience in this particular era, the post read less like a marketing campaign and more like a declaration. A man who had been quiet was signaling that the quiet was not emptiness, it was preparation. The Iceman persona is not arbitrary. Drake has cultivated it with the kind of deliberate patience that separates superstars from their peers. In a media landscape that rewards constant output and punishes silence, Drake has chosen restraint and then punctuated that restraint with moments designed to remind the world exactly who they are waiting for. The phrases in that March carousel were not accidental. Talk is cheap in particular carries a resonance that points outward toward critics, toward doubters, toward an industry that spent a significant portion of 2024 and early 2025 questioning his cultural relevance in the aftermath of his highly publicized rap conflict with Kendrick Lamar. Drake said nothing in response to those questions. He posted a carousel instead. That, in itself, was a statement. Then came the moment that set the internet on fire. And it arrived not through music, not through a grand announcement, but through a story post about fashion design. Sometime after the March 3 rollout, Drake posted a social media story in which he jokingly referred to himself as a Vivet designer, claiming he had been working on concept designs for Vivet, the streetwear brand associated with popular internet personality and streamer Kai Cenat. The remark was delivered with the dry, self-aware humor that Drake has increasingly leaned into as part of his public persona. It was not presented as a serious announcement. There was no formal partnership press release. There was no branding drop. It was, by all appearances, a troll, the kind of offhand comment that a man who controls exactly how much of himself he shares with the public makes when he wants to remind you that he is paying attention to everything happening around him, even when he seems to be looking the other way. Kai Cenat, for his part, is not the kind of person who lets a moment like that pass without response. The New York-born content creator, who has in recent years become one of the most watched streamers on Twitch and a genuine cultural force among Gen Z audiences, replied to Drake's story in what appeared to be a direct message exchange. His response was immediate, unfiltered, and entirely in keeping with his brand. He told Drake, using characteristically blunt language, to drop the album. The message was short. The meaning was not. Kai's reply, stripped of diplomatic formality and full of the kind of energy that had made him famous in the first place, said out loud what millions of Drake fans had been thinking for months. The album tease had gone on long enough. The patience was running thin. The joke about fashion was funny, yes, but what people actually wanted was music. What happened next is a case study in how parasocial dynamics and internet culture transform private exchanges into public spectacles. The DM exchange, or at least the substance of it, became known to Drake's fan base within a very short window of time, and the reaction was not simply amusement, it was recognition. Kai Cenat, in one unscripted reply, had articulated a collective frustration that fans had been expressing in comment sections, on Reddit threads, in reaction videos, and in every other corner of the internet where Drake's name comes up in conversation. The drop the album sentiment is not new. It predates this particular exchange by many months, but having it delivered directly to Drake by someone with the platform and the personality to make it land gave the sentiment a new weight. Comment sections across Instagram, X, and TikTok filled rapidly with iterations of the same demand. Drop the album